Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj, who first met Srila Prabhupada all the way back in 1973 and took initiation from him. Then latterly meeting Srila Narayan Maharaj in 1996 and taking sannyas from him in 2004. He then later also took Shiksha from Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. And for a long time, he has been traveling and preaching and giving a lot of association and guidance to devotees, especially in Ukraine, but also here and here in London. Especially recently, we're very fortunate to have so much of his association, and now he's gone to Wales and we're missing him. But we're very fortunate to be able to hear from him now. So I think he's been on the program since maybe the start, and now it's finally time to hear from him. So Maharaj, thank you so much for coming, and when you're ready, you can begin speaking. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namam Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namane Namam Vishnu Padaya Gaura Prasthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Bharati Namane Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhabhya Evacha Putitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Offer my humble obeisances, the lotus feet of my beloved Diksha Guru, Nityalita Pravishti Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Lotus feet of my beloved Shiksha and Sannyas Guru, Rupa Nugavara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Our Gurudev, lotus feet of Prabhupada Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, to all our Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, offer my humble obeisances to all devotees present and who will be hearing, especially those senior Vaishnavas, and my thanks to Tan Krishna Prabhu, Yashodananda Prabhu, and their Zoom team for arranging this wonderful event. Tomorrow is the Divine Appearance Day of Srila Gurudeva, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So we're speaking in his honor. Yashodananda Prabhu offered me he knows I'm a rebel. So he said, well, you can speak on the topics given or any other topic. So I'm going to speak on any other topic because that's my rebellious nature. So I want to speak on Acharya, and Srila Gurudeva is Acharya, just like my Guru Maharaj is also Acharya. Acharya is the supreme personality of self-fulfillment or Atma fulfillment. Krishna, what is Atma? What is self-fulfillment? What does it mean? Self-realization, self-fulfillment. It means fulfilling the qualities of the self, fulfilling the transcendental qualities of the self, ultimately transcendental. We know Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. Krishna, his nature is Satchidananda. He's the very form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. And Mamai Vangso Jiva Loke. So the minute living entities, we're also his minute parts and parcels. So we're one in quality with Krishna, but Hare Krishna, but not one in quantity, obviously. And the big difference between us is that Krishna is controlling the illusory potency. and the living entities are under the control of the illusory potency. We're an illusion. Krishna's not an illusion, but we're an illusion. So by quality, we're the same, but by quantity, we're not the same. And therefore, our quality has been covered by this illusory potency. So by nature, we can say that, yes, we have the potential for eternal personal existence and knowledge and bliss. But it's more than that. Potential means that we always want to increase and we always want to come up to the next level. And that's the real nature of, it's the real nature of consciousness. It's the real nature of the self. Spirit, soul, Atma. Not only to be conscious, but to come higher, next level, next level, next level, next level. So Krishna, he's always enhancing his blissful nature. Just like most famous example, Rasa dance. So Krishna saw the moon, he promised the gopis that yes, in the future, when he stole their clothes, when they were performing Kachayani Vrat, so he promised them that in the future, in future nights, we will dance together. And when he saw the moon and remembering Srimati Radhika, then Bhagavanapita Ratri Sharad Pulla Mallika Viksharantu Manaschakra Yogamayam Apashataha. So he wanted to expand his loving potency, his blissful loving potency, and therefore he began the whole extraordinary sequence, totally amazing sequence of events that led up to the Rasa dance, which is the supreme pastime here in this material world. So in those pastimes, Krishna's performing pastimes, Saraswati Prabhupada said he's the transcendental autocrat. He's the boss, actually. We can say that but by Ras, Srimati Radhika is the boss. She bewilders him. Like in Radha Kripa Pataksha Stavaraj. So Krishna is completely bewildered by her grace and by her transcendental moods. So she's the boss. Yes, but in separation, we see who's the boss. Just like when Srimati Radhika was in separation from Krishna after he disappeared from her before the Rasa dance. And she's rolling on the ground and crying in unparalleled ecstasy of separation and calling herself Dasyam. I'm your servant. When the gopis came to plead with Krishna at the beginning, when they came together to meet him at the time. So they also said that time of Rasa dance. So they also said, we're your servants. So Srimati Radhika, she is totally fulfilling herself. She's also the supreme personality of self-fulfillment because she fulfills she's Krishna's limitless potency. And she is totally absorbed. She fulfills all her nature as Krishna's loving potency by fulfilling his desires and by helping him, enabling him to fulfill his truly blissful nature. He's Rasik Shekhar. And she enables him to expand and expand and expand and expand. And therefore, Krishna, he's completely indebted to her. He says she's his life and soul. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is celebrating during the time of Rath Yatra, so he's celebrating the meeting of Radha and Krishna at Rath Yatra. And he's singing Taramaje Gopi Gana Sakshat Mora Jivana Tumi Mora Jivanera Jivana. In the mood, he's saying that Krishna is telling Srimati Radhika that yes, the love of the Brajbasis is like my love, my life. And amongst them, the life heirs, pran. And then amongst them, the gopis, they're sakshat mora jivan. They're my life. Tumi mora jivan era jivan, but you're the life of my life. Krishna's powerless without Srimati Radhika. And therefore he says, actually, without you, my life is meaningless. Tuhum bina kahara rasa. Tuhum lagi mora barajavasa. I'm only living in Braj because of you. Braj is the supreme limit of all Krishna's loving pastimes, but he's saying that I'm only living in Braj just because of you, that's all. So Srimati Radhika's maidservants, they're her parts and parcels, and they actually help her to fulfill the beautiful nature of these pastimes. Nikunjayuno ratikeli siddhai. Srila Gurudeva said, you may know, for example, my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, that how he distributed Krishna consciousness all over the world, how he translated Bhagavad Gita, and how he distributed the holy name. So on one celebrated occasion on Vishwarup Mahotsav, so he's telling the ISKCON devotees that if that's what Swami Maharaj has done, then he is servant of Mahavishnu. But actually, he's servant of Rasaraj Mahabhav. They couldn't understand. They thought he's really saying that because, yeah, that's what they'd seen him do. So he's just servant of Mahavishnu and became very angry. But actually, he's saying that, like he said, you have to know not just how high is the mountain, but how deep is the mountain. So he knows how deep is the mountain because he's also deep mountain. So the maidservants of Radha, they're enhancing these pastimes. Nikunjayuno ratikeli siddhai. This is the depth of the mountain. We can't see from our point of view, we can't see that, but we can hear about it. So Guru Saki is one very, very close, intimate maidservants of Srimati Radhika. Those maidservants, they're the personification of the qualities of Srimati Radhika. Rati Manjari, personification of her love. And so our Gurudev, we understand that he is the personification of these loving pastimes. Raman. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jai. So Radha Ramana Hari. Hari is Krishna. Radha is Srimati Radhika. And Radha Ramana Hari means Radha and Krishna with their very, very dear, with Srimati Radhika's very, very dear maidservant between them, helping them. Just like Rupa Goswami describes that Radha and Krishna, they're having an argument. She's holding, Rupa Manjari is holding a necklace, and they're having an argument about whose that necklace is, who's won the necklace. And she's like this between them. So like that, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Or Radha Ramana Hari Bo. So they're her, Srimati Radhika's maidservants, and they help her. Nikunjayuno Ratikeli Siddha, they help her to fulfill the beautiful nature of those pastimes. And she becomes lovingly dependent on them. Actually, she's manifested them. Just like Srimati Radhika, she's Mahabhav Swarup. She's personification of all moods. But rather than Krishna associates with her in different moods, she manifests those moods as different personalities. So for example, Astasaki, her 8 principal companions, they're all manifestations of different moods of Srimati Radhika. And the eternal Manjaris also, she's manifested them. So they're manifestations of her moods. And she becomes Hare Krishna. So she becomes lovingly dependent on them. So they're supreme. They're helping her to help Krishna to fulfill his beautiful, amazing pastimes. Krishna is his boss, and he has a desire to bring in the conditioned souls. So he appeared 5,000 years ago. He preached Bhagavad Gita. He manifested those pastimes in Vrindavan. But who understood? And actually, the hurdle that he put up was very high. Sarvadharmam parichitya mamekang sharanam braja. That's very, very difficult. That first of all, you have to surrender to me completely. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mang namaskara. Gurudev says you can't do that until you're in bhav. You can't do it completely until you're in prem. And even in bhav, only half. So who can fulfill those conditions that Krishna said? Very difficult. Who, at the time of his appearance, outside of Braj, understood those Braj pastimes? Almost nobody. The non-principal queens in Dwaraka, they aspired to take birth as gopis. They were attracted. But how many, like the flower seller came, garland maker, that fruit seller also, very few in Krishna's time. And after Krishna's time, who understood? Very, very few. They thought that Krishna is naughty, immoral, dancing with the wives of others. Let's do the same. So what to do? So therefore, Srimati Radhika stepped in, and Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya in the mood of Srimati Radhika. And as Lord Chaitanya, he danced from Puri all the way around South India, converting the whole of South India. And then he went to Vrindavan. So many people. But like Mahavir Maharaj was explaining, that he wasn't distributing the mood that we can actually aspire for. So who can do that? Only Srimati Radhika's very, very, very dear assistants, maidservants, like her parts and parcels actually. So they come, Acharya comes. Krishna manifests himself as self-valid, self-fulfilling scriptures. But the scriptures by themselves cannot fulfill Krishna's desire. They have to be given by somebody. There's book Bhagavat, and then there's person Bhagavat. So Acharya is person Bhagavat. First of all, he gives us this Vedic philosophy. Atma, Paramatma, Sankhya philosophy. This whole world is Krishna's energy. What does that mean? This Sankhya philosophy, it's all the elements of Sankhya philosophy, they're self-evident and they're undeniable as well. It's a self-valid philosophy, unlike the imaginary philosophy of modern materialists. They've deviated the world so much from our original nature. So Acharya corrects that. He calls them out. He presents the ideal philosophy, soul, super soul. It's the beginning of this ideal philosophy. Enables us to come to the spiritual platform. And then he presents Varnashram. Thakur Bhaktivinoda wrote to Saraswati Prabhupada, Saraswati, you have to continue what you're doing and establish Daivi Varnashram. Because Daivi Varnashram, when society is run on those lines, that's also a self-validating system. It's undeniable. Those, because the natural divisions of effort. Even if you try to deny it, it's the same divisions of effort come into play. But varnashram by itself is not enough, because it's basically maximum mode of goodness. And the material modes will always drag it down unless there's Vaishnava Dharma. So Acharya is bringing us up through varnashram. And then he's explaining what is the real purpose of life, that actually we have soul form, we have swarup. Just like a child. How much time have I got now, Tarun? Well, that's it.
I have a few minutes.
Okay. Just like a child, how do we learn to talk? How do we learn to walk? By the grace of our parents. It comes by grace. Seeing people doing things that we're not doing, seeing people walking and we're just sitting on our butts on the ground, we want to walk. Hearing them talking with each other and laughing and all these things, we also want to do that. The desire comes from seeing that. But the actual, like raising the level of self-awareness and all like that, that comes by grace of Super Soul. It all comes by grace. Similarly, when we come to the spiritual platform, it's by the grace of Guru. When we meet with Acharya, then seeing him as a role model, we aspire for what he has, and he gives, by his grace, he gives that. Like one time I went to Gurudev, we were at Sakigiri Parvat, and he'd been saying that you have to chant the holy name under the guidance of a pure devotee. So I went to him and I said, Srila Gurudeva, this is right in the very beginning. I said, Srila Gurudeva, I want to chant the pure holy name under the guidance of a pure devotee. And he just chucked me under the chin like that. He says, oh, you do. Like parent with a child, they fulfill the child's desires. So by grace of Acharya Mangvijaniya. Acharya, Krishna says, Acharya is myself. So Acharya presents also this transcendental world, these transcendental pastimes. And gradually, like in my Guru Maharaja's time, I did not understand that he's a maidservant of Srimati Radhika. I could have done if I'd really read attentively and had grace. But I didn't. I didn't read that attentively, and I didn't have that grace. But Gurudev is opening us up to the full, I mean, as far as we're capable. Radha Palyadasim is really the ultimate goal. Of course, we can go level after level after level after level of understanding what that means, realizing what it means. Guru lifts us to the next level. In the Braj pastimes, there's astonishment and separation, and Guru also gives us separation. In separation, we become helpless, hopeless maybe, bewildered, confused. This is the operation that Guru puts us through. Gurudev said he awards us separation. When he was with us, he would give separation by completely ignoring or abusing, criticizing, and like that. What? Become confused and helpless. And in that time, he's injecting heart operation without anesthetic. And now, separation. Without separation from Guru, we can't make progress, actually. And separation means I can think back, like I've got pictures when I was with Gurudev in 96, 97, like that. There's one, he's got his hand on my shoulder and I'm just totally blissed out. So I can think, oh, if only I could go back to that time. But that time I was like a little baby. I didn't understand anything. Why go back to that time? So I want to go to higher and higher levels with Gurudev, but he's not physically here. But I want to be with him. And that separation is actually the surrendering to that separation. Like Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna, be happy. And now you're saying I have to cry, chant Hare Krishna, cry. But that separation is actually it's the medicine that dissolves our ego structures and allows Gurudev to put in, just like he was talking, how you get rid of the air in the glass. So you pour in water. So dissolving those ego structures, Gurudev, he makes situations to dissolve all these things. And then he gives his divine grace. And gradually, we come up to the level where we will actually be able to associate with him, actually, I mean, soul to soul. Hare Krishna, my obeisances to all devotees. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripasinubhyacha putidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Well, thank you, Maharaj.